Hello everyone, it's me again, Joey, and today we are going to take a closer look at ASUS ProArt34V Curved Professional Monitor. Meldon! Meldon!
Oh.
Huwag kang galit sa keyboard. This is ASUS PA34V Curved Professional Monitor from their ProArt series. It's a 4K UHD 3440 by 1440 resolution. It has HDR, quite not sure if it's HDR 400 or HDR 1000. It has a 21:9 curved display, IPS for that ultra-wide viewing angle, 100% sRGB coverage, and probably 100% ARGB coverage too. It has Thunderbolt 3 compatibility. It has a daisy chain compatibility, so you can hook up multiple 4K monitors at once. Has ProArt calibration technology, meaning all of the ProArt series monitors actually come factory calibrated, so you don't need to tinker with them out of the box. It has color accuracy that is less than Delta 2, picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture, so you can have two displays showing in at one time over the other or side-by-side, and it has some height adjustment, tilt down, tilt up, swivel left and right if you want it, and of course it has eye care and 3 years warranty. Okay, let's unbox it. So the first thing that you're going to see inside the box is an ASUS VIP member notice. This is the warranty for 3 years. Make sure to keep this one. The next one is their LCD monitor color calibration testing report. As I mentioned earlier, all of the ProArt series, the PA series, come pre-calibrated from the factories. That means you don't need to tinker with them, and all of the best settings already come out of the box. But of course, if you do want to tinker with your settings, you do lose the settings from factory. The first big box that is actually inside the mother box is the base. Okay, so this is the box of the base. Let's unbox this. This is probably the cover for all the ports that you're going to be able to put at the back of the monitor. You have a CD for drivers. Are CDs still a thing? I don't think so, but it's good to have nonetheless. Next up, you have the power cables. You have the 3-pin. You have a Thunderbolt 3 cable. You have another type of 3-pin. Okay, so it's good to know that there are multiple options for cables here, because I'm not even sure why we have so many cable standards here in the Philippines. We do have an HDMI cable, hoping that it's HDMI 2.0 at the very least. Next up, we have a Type-C to Type-C Thunderbolt 3 cable. And then lastly, we have another HDMI cable. So if you do work with multiple devices, it's quite good that we actually have all these options. So if you do want to have multiple monitors connected to a single source, your source needs to have Thunderbolt 3 enabled, either laptop or desktop, and you'll need to have multiple 4K monitors. Of course, preferably, you do have the same monitors all around so that they are really of the same color and color grading. Lastly, you have an instruction manual on how to set up your PA34V. And by the looks of it, it kind of looks complicated, but let's get on with it. Alright, we're greeted in the middle by the base of the monitor. Okay, so it's quite a heavy base. It will need to support the monitor because it is 34 inches wide. Okay, so this is the base of the ProArt PA34V. It has a nice metal finish. Okay, so it has those ruler type of resemblance in terms of design and not much else. So there's some rubber feet at the bottom so you don't scratch your table when you actually put it, and so that it also doesn't move or slip when you're adjusting the height. Okay, so this is where you attach the monitor and you can swivel it either left, right, or adjust the height up or down. Let's put this aside first. After the base, we have a secondary styrofoam, which next, we're actually greeted by the monitor itself. So the monitor is quite heavy, so make sure that you actually have someone to help you get it out of the box if you want to take care of your device even much more than you would have preferred. Alright, so here we have the monitor itself. So this is the 34-inch ultra-wide 4K monitor. It has a 21:9 format. So we're going to attach this now to the base and see how it looks like. Alright, so this is the monitor with the styrofoam removed. Okay, so it should be actually straightforward. The space for the attachment inside should be just hook and play. This is the ASUS PA34V. Okay, so let's set it up, let's see what it's all about, and then let's talk about it some more. So now we're going to power up the device, but before that, we need some of the cables that are bundled inside the box. Of course, you will need your power adapter. And you'll need your input connector. We can use either the HDMI to HDMI or a Type-C to Type-C port. There's also actually a USB to Type-C inside the box, but for the purposes of this stream, we will use it with a laptop, so we're going to use either the HDMI or the Type-C to Type-C connector. But before we do connect it up, let's look at the ports at the back of the screen. Okay, so we have the AC adapter which plugs directly in. There's no power brick required. You have two HDMI ports, you have a display port, you have your audio jack, which is right here in the middle, you have two USB ports, and you have 3 extra USB 3.0. So for the USB Type-C, you actually have one that supports upstream, which means you can actually charge your devices when you plug it on the left USB Type-C. Alright, so for the purpose of this stream, we're going to use the Zephyrs. It has an HDMI port at the back and USB Type-C at the right side or the left side. We'll see how it works. Okay, so one of the features of the Zephyrs is that it can actually charge via one of the ports found on the right side via the Type-C connection. So if this works, you can have your 4K connection and charge your device at the same time. So now we have the Zephyrs all set up. So it's connected via the Type-C to Type-C and connected to the Type-C, which actually has upstream. So it means that once we turn on the Pro Art monitor, it will actually charge the Zephyrs. Let's test it out. So the buttons and the control on and off button is actually found on the right side of the monitor. And once you turn it on, it should actually be detected. So it did. So it does say it's USB not recognized because there are no drivers installed, but it should work just as fine. So what we have here is a full HD display. So it will not correctly display on this monitor, but we can adjust the settings. So we'll turn off the display on the Zephyrs and put it on main display on the Pro Art. Okay, so now we have it 4K. So it's showing at a different resolution here because it only supports up to full HD resolution. But here we can see the full 3440 by 1440p resolution of the Pro Art monitor. So we will still be unable to test all of the programs that we plan to run and test on this, but watch out for a later review for all of our testing. Okay, so as we can see, it's actually charging via the Type-C port. It's a very nifty thing to have, especially if you don't have your power adapter with you. But of course, you won't be carrying this PA34VC around with you. So it means this will just be staying at home. So in cases where you actually don't have your power adapter, you can rely on the power delivery system of these monitors, the upstream connection, so that you can actually charge your devices if you're not doing something heavy. But of course, this monitor is not intended for gaming or for regular work. It's intended for real content creation, so when you do need that, it's going to be crunching some numbers and a lot of rendering, so it won't be enough to keep your Zephyrs charged up. We still recommend that you bring your separate charger with you. Okay, from the get-go, you would already immediately notice that the colors on the screen versus the laptop is actually very different. It seems a little bit washed out on the Zephyrs, but a little more saturated when it comes to the PA34VC. So while we can't correctly measure the output display or the color that is being displayed right now on the monitor, we do have some tools that will actually give us the display results. We'll test that out in a written review, but for now, since this is just an unboxing and overall first impressions, watch out for the full review. In this section, we're going to take a look at the buttons or the menu of the PA34VC. So as I mentioned before, the power button is situated on the lower right-hand side at the back of the monitor. There are 5 other buttons there, plus a joystick so you can navigate through the controls. So we know a lot of people that actually likes to keep the stickers on, but you'd probably end up removing it anyways in the long run, so might as well. So pressing any of the buttons would bring out the menu here on the right side. And each of the buttons actually correspond to the monitor settings. So down here we can see that there's the brightness up and brightness down. Okay, so using the joystick, we can actually turn up the brightness of the monitor. So it was set to 50 at the start, but now we're cranking it up to 100. And just press the joystick, and there you have it. You have a splendid mode, which you can choose between standard, sRGB, a Rec.7009 mode, an HDR simulation mode, a scenery mode, reading mode, darkroom mode, and of course your presets, which you can actually configure here. So let's check them out one by one. So the blue light filter can be set from 0 to level 4. Your color can be changed with regards to brightness, contrast, saturation, hue, color temperature, gamma, black level, or any of the advanced settings. Let's check out what's in the advanced settings. So you have a 6-axis hue, a 6-axis saturation, and your gain and offset. As you can see, the brightness was set to 100 and the contrast is only at 80. So cranking it up and down will give you the best colors that you would actually use. For saturation, it's set at 50, the hue is set at 50, and the color temperature is at 6500K. Gamma is set at 22, the black level is at 50, but you can get really deep black levels here because of the color calibration. But if you did something wrong and you don't like the result of your manually tampering, you can just do a color reset and then it'll just go back to the way it was. So as you can see, the brightness went back to normal settings. Okay, other things that you can adjust is the sharpness, trace-free or vivid pixels. By enabling the vivid pixels, the saturation actually goes up a notch higher. This actually features local dimming, so it means that if you do need certain lighting or darkness in certain parts of the screen, you actually don't need the whole screen actually won't brighten up on its own. Because the problem with a lot of screens is that when you adjust settings, it adjusts it for the entire monitor. But with local dimming via HDR technology, you can actually set which ones are actually requiring more light, more darkness, more brightness, more contrast, and more saturation. So there you have it. This has been the unboxing and overview of the PA34VC curved professional monitor from the ProArt series of ASUS. Do check out our full review once it's published. Visit our blog at cantotech.ph for more information. Thank you.